So this is going to be a code walkthrough. Here we have the sprite animation and the update animation. Pretty sure these are default with the 2D side scroller example, which I did use. There was no information that said we couldn't use it, so I mean, if we can't, well, it's a bit too late for that now. Well, here's the walking. And pretty much what this is doing is, firstly, it's checking if P is held. If it is held, it goes through this branch function. And if shift isn't pressed, or shift key isn't pressed, it'll go into the walking function. This checks if it's below 0, if it's a negative number, and if it is, it adds movement. I think that's negative movement. Yeah. Which would just mean it's going left. And this one checks if it's above 0, which would be positive, and this adds positive movement. Now it's going through this debug check code blocks. And then if it is true, it pretty much just outputs this to the HUD, the debug HUD. Well, actually, no, it stores into a global variable, which in this case be shift. And then our debug HUD draws that to the screen. And pretty much the same for up here. If shift is pressed. Yeah, if shift is pressed, we move a meter. Go into the move a meter code block section. It's pretty much the same for this up here as it is down here. Although it's just using a slightly different method of it. So you can see here it checks is sprinting. This would be true if debug shift is on, which is a variable that is controllable through the details menu in the side scroller example thing up here. Well, through his details menu right here. Yeah, if that's true, it just does the exact same thing as it does down here, except it sets the string variable debug shift to true, and this one down here just sets it to false. Well, says it's false rather. Anyway, now this goes through here, and this does a do once function. Well, now if this one is false, yeah, it goes into the positive. And since this is going to be false every single time you press or at least it's false every time you press it at least once, it'll entirely reset this do once function or code block. Because if you didn't reset it, it would literally or let you to do it once and once only. Yeah, and that's just allowing you to yeah, if it is positive, it goes through to the negative. Like what? Well, it sets you back about 1,000 spaces. I'm not quite sure if that is actually one Unreal Engine unit, because for whatever reason those are completely different from the relative location. yeah, this down here just handles the jump, and I believe this is also default in Unreal Engine 4, the 2D side-scroller example at least. Yeah, now over here, we actually set the world origin, because it also says you don't, it also doesn't say, at least the project guidelines says that you don't have to set the world origin location, but for here it's just a bit easier just to get the actor location. And then truncate it to integers rather than floats. Well, float vectors rather. This is a TP to world origin. Once you press the spacebar, it'll just set the actor location to the world origin, which was previously set up here. So this is if P is held. So pretty much what this is doing is setting some debug stuff as well. So here it's just getting the it's casting to my GI, which is game instance, and that's just so we can set debug P to held or not held as a string variable. Now this is a flip-flop. So once this P key is pressed, it can either stay as held or not held. And if we didn't have this and it was just like connected through here and here, well, it'd be setting it off at the same time probably, but it just wouldn't work as it does. Now this is just quitting the game. Just the escape key and then quit game. Not too difficult. This handles the left shift key. Well, keyboard sprinting. It probably shouldn't be sprinting. It should probably be moving. Meter. But yeah, once it's pressed, it'll set it to pressed, and once it's released, it will set that boolean to false. So this one's true and this one's false. And this is just some custom stuff that I added. It's input action pause menu, which was set in, I think, project settings. Pretty much it just calls the function pause game, which is, I think this, yeah. This is setting the game to pause. It's removing all the widgets, so it's clearing the screen, and that'll come in handy for later. This one checks if the pause menu is actually paused, or if the pause menu is already up. And if it is up, it'll just add a viewport already. If there isn't a pause menu added, what it'll do is it'll create the pause menu widget. Yeah, it'll create the pause menu widget, and then set input mode to UI only, allowing you to move the mouse. And this is just allowing you to show the mouse cursor. Now, here's the onPause function, and this is actually controlled by the pause menu. I forget what that is. What is it? The widget blueprint. And yeah. See, this one actually calls the onPause function, which is obtained through the 2D side-scroller character blueprint. Yeah, pretty much all this does is unpauses the game, removes all widgets, and then sets the input mode to game only, and then removes the mouse cursor. And this is open controls menu, which is incredibly similar to pause game. It's setting the game to paused, removing all the widgets, so it's clearing out any screen before it, like the pause menu. And then it's just checking if the controls menu is already up. If it is, just add the viewport. If it's not, create the controls widget. And then set UI, or set input mode to UI only, and then shows the mouse cursor as well. And that is accessed through here, which is the pause menu widget. That's quick game. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it's just executing the function. Yeah, and this is just the controls menu. Just saying what how you move a beater, where you can TP to, or how you TP, to stop movement, and the kill game. Okay, well, I'm gonna show off my program cleanly exiting because I can't compile for Windows, because Unreal Engine on Linux is just so not good. So let's open it up, and here you can see it's working just fine. Can teleport, can jump, can go ahead, move, can even open up the menu. But here, hitting the escape key now, it cleanly exits.